Do you find that some things in your life seem to be an ongoing struggle? That they seem to follow a predictable pattern? Or that they have a way of spinning out of control sometimes? Do you feel you've hit an invisible ceiling with some of your goals and dreams? Have you done what you vowed you'd never do and settled for less? Hi everybody. In this video I would like to share with you, as I have just done, these 3 questions, because they were 3 questions that I realized I had to answer for myself if I was going to stop suffering as much as I was in the past, and if I was going to really have a fulfilled life, a life of peace and joy and contentment and a sense of freedom and abundance. And it may seem like a contradiction to be talking about contentment when, the title of this video is To Dare to Desire More. So it seems like they are in contradiction. How can you have a sense of contentment? How can you feel contented if you are being encouraged to desire more? Well, you see, the thing is that desire, as far as I'm concerned, is a natural thing. It's a very natural and necessary impulse of life, because life is infinite. Life never stops. If you look at everything around you, life hasn't come to a standstill. Life continues on. And so if we are not aligned with the natural flow of life, with the natural impulse of life, with the infinite potential of life, in other words, if we are pushing back against it, if we are resisting it, that in itself is what gives rise to our suffering, to our discontent, to our anxiety, to our nervousness, to our disappointments, to our distress, to our diseases, to our failure in relationships, because we are not aligned with the natural flow of life. Life is full of power and possibility, and it is life. Just you and I are the form in which life expresses itself, its infinite possibilities. So, what I'd like to share with you, apart from those questions that I started this video with, I'd like to share with you what answering those questions did for me. And I want to say that it's, I don't want you to get the impression that I have reached a state of transcendence and enlightenment where nothing phases me, where I am so blissed out, and that I never ever experience any kind of negative energy. No, that is not true. I have my moments when I do get angry sometimes, when I feel very judgmental, when I feel hard done by. There are moments, but I can honestly tell you they are fewer and fewer and further apart, and never quite as intense as they used to be back in the day. And the reason why I'm sharing this with you is because I think that ultimately, that's what we're all being asked to do. We're all being really asked to consider what it is that we might be doing that is resisting the natural flow and the natural impulse of life. And so when I sincerely addressed these questions, they opened up pathways, doorways that enabled me to make certain decisions and to begin to very consciously learn certain truths about life, about myself, and to learn the skills that were required for me to continue to remain more and more awake and alert in a peaceful, in a gentle, in a really comfortable and nurturing and nourishing way. So let me share with you some of the things that happened as a result of me going down this self-inquiry. Well, I made the critical decision to ask for and expect more of life. I allowed myself to believe that I could be happy and free. Over time, I realized that I am by nature joyous, free, and forever becoming more and more joyous, peaceful, free. Because really what's happening is that rather than adding anything to myself or to my nature, I am merely revealing more and more of what is already within me. I prioritized happiness, peace of mind, health, and freedom. I found the teachers, books, and tools to help me. I learned how to observe my mind without drowning in my thoughts and stories, and that is the practice of meditation. I learned how to stop judging myself, which is another thing that we learn. It's a skill that we acquire when we practice mindfulness. I practiced new ways of thinking and feeling and made them a habit. Yeah, this is possible. In fact, all of this is possible because I have done it, and I'm sure that anyone who sincerely wants to can do the same. I practiced new ways of thinking and feeling and made them a habit. I learned how to keep a relaxed inner vigilance on my thoughts and feelings at all times. I accepted that the way I experienced the world was entirely a result of my thoughts, beliefs, and attitude, and not my history, my genetics, or my karma. I learned to accept other people as they were, without demanding that they change, and without making my happiness and success contingent upon them changing. I developed the skill and habit of visualizing way beyond what was familiar to me. And boy, oh boy, hasn't this been not just so useful, but so fun, so immensely fun to do. And it's something I feel that I want to really become very masterful at and help others do the same as well. I discovered in an experiential way, not intellectually, but experientially, that I am an embodiment of an infinite, life-giving, ever-expanding, and limitless intelligence, which you can call consciousness, which you can call God. I learned how to be very mindful of the words I spoke and with which I thought, so that I dropped disempowering and limiting words such as can't, should, hard, impossible, challenge, and need from my internal dialogue. And to this day, In fact, even more and more, I use it very sparingly in conversations. I embrace the fact that expansion, becoming more, asking more of the universe, which is about asking more of myself, is a necessary and natural life-giving impulse that allows me to live joyously, confidently, and freely, rather than stagnating. And I just want to say that, again, it is not about adding anything more to who and what we already are, but rather to uncover, to reveal, and to express, and therefore experience more and more and more of who and what we already are. I gave up limiting beliefs that I had held for most of my life, and which people around me were still holding on to, and therefore trying to make me live by. I'm sure you can relate to that. I decided that if there was going to be a rule book, I would write it for myself. But then I also discovered that I didn't actually need a rule book, and that it was so much easier and natural for me to follow my good feelings, my intuition, that inner guidance which I had been learning to really tune into and to listen to. So I learned how to tune into my good feelings and to trust them and be guided by them. I learned how to tune into and follow my intuition. I learned how to let my wisdom heart, my intuition, direct my head. In other words, I made sure that my intellect was at the service of my intuition and my wisdom. I learned how to focus less on the things, including relationships, material possessions, and tangible goals that I desired, and more on the feelings around them. And this is another one that I think there's a lot of confusion around, because we have been socialized into going for tangible material goals. And let me just say, all the things that we have in life, whether it's, fantastic car, a gorgeous relationship, a wonderful house, travel, and all of these things, they are amazing, they are wonderful, they are there to be enjoyed. But where we do get undone, where we do turn off the right track, is when we believe that these things in and of themselves give us what we're looking for. No, they don't. They just are like a light that's calling us in a direction forward in a way so that we can experience all those things that we think that these tangible material goals are going to give us. Peace, doesn't come from a beautiful house. Peace is already within us. Excitement doesn't come from a relationship. That natural and excitement and wonderment and awe and love is already within us. Someone else is like a bit of a trigger, a kind of icon on the desktop. And I'm not trying to minimize, please don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to minimize the role of other people. But what I'm saying is that they are there to call us forward, to give ourselves permission to open up all the gifts that are already within us. Okay, what else? I learned to offer strong feeling vibrations in order to attract the things I wanted in life. I learned how to shift my focus quickly from what I didn't want and feared to what I did want. And that's another very important one, because we're so good at focusing on the things that we don't want and things that we are fearful for, when really our attention is better off focused on what we do want, what we do love. I learned to let go of outcomes. And again, as I was saying earlier, when we set ourselves goals and so on, we look for particular outcomes and we become attached to those outcomes. We forget that the real gift, the real joy is in what we experience as we move forward towards our goals. It's not the outcome. The outcome is just, a byproduct. But the real joy, the real satisfaction, the real thrill, the real expansion, if you like, of awareness is in the process of moving toward the goal. Okay, and I learned how to set goals and use them as a stimulus for raising strong, good-feeling vibrations in order to attract the things that are desired. And when you do this, at the end of the day, whether or not you achieve or accomplish that particular outcome becomes less and less relevant, because, as I said, the real gift, the real prize is in the feeling of the satisfaction, the joy, the contentment, the excitement, the expansion. You're not still in your tight-fitting, ill-fitting bodysuit. You're now really giving yourself permission to allow more and more of life's natural, infinite potential express itself through you, and so you are able to experience it. And finally, I learned how to keep my mind peaceful and still, so that it is the ideal environment in which to visualize and set goals and raise strong, good feelings around anything I desire, including money, relationships, travel, work, and health. Of course, all of this learning, all of this uncovering of more and more of who I truly am is something that's ongoing. It's not like, I've reached the pinnacle of my conscious journey. Absolutely not. It hasn't happened, and it never will happen, because, as I said before, life is infinite and eternal. So I'm just saying that whilst I can happily and with great self-satisfaction say that these are a lot of the things that I have, learned for myself, the learning never stops, the expansion never stops, the mastery, if you like, continues as it would, because there is so much more to experience, so much more to discover, and so many more ways in which that can happen. Okay, so if you have any comments or questions, or if you're interested in finding out more about my own journey, please leave a comment, or you could contact me directly through my website, which is www.getenlightenedtoday.com. The link is below. And maybe you are on your conscious journey. Maybe you'd like to begin. Maybe you'd like to have someone who has been walking this journey and, might be a useful companion, a mentor for you along your journey. If that's the case, as I said, do get in touch. In the meantime, I wish you much happiness, and may your heart beat with the rhythms of peace. Hey everybody, I know it's so easy to forget, I do it myself so often, but please, if you did like this video, do hit the like button, do subscribe, do share, and most of all, please leave a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thank you so much.